Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, bringing you guys a brand new video today. Today, what we're going to be looking at is my in-game controller settings for Apex Legends in 2024. I'm really excited to bring something like this to you guys because it does offer a in-depth look as to the controller settings, not only that I use, but that I have seen other people use and what other settings may work for me, may not work for you. So keep that in mind if you guys see some of the clips that you guys have been seeing on the channel and you guys are like, wow, I want to shoot like that. It may not always work for you. So without further ado and much more blabbering, let's hop into it. All right, we loaded up into the firing range and I've got a loadout here that I'm going to show you guys. It's my R9 and the Hemlock. So when I warm up before I start playing, if you guys are in the stream, you guys see I like to shoot around in the firing range for a little bit. Typically for like 10-15 minutes or so, just to get the shot a little bit warm, work up close, get some long range shots, warm up a little bit. Not the most effective way to always warm up because obviously playing against bots and then going and playing against actual players is completely different, but it just gets the juices flowing a little bit, allows me to kind of get my hands a little loose and warm, so that way when I do get into the actual game itself, I'm not having such a hard time adjusting. So for starters, we'll go to my controller settings. Now again, like I said, this is what works for me. It may not work for you guys. So if you guys want, you can go ahead and pause the video here and check out these settings and try them out for yourself and see if they work for you, or allow me to explain a little bit and just see, my philosophy of it. Let's start at the top and let's work our way down. We got our button layout here. Default, nothing too crazy. So just for the record, I am using a Xbox Series X Battle Beaver controller with only one button. You guys can't really see it all that well. Right there, one button on the left side, and that is my melee. For those of you that are not new here, you guys have been here for a while, you guys know that Panic Melee has been something that I have done for 10 plus years. It started in Call of Duty. I would Panic Melee randomly in gunfights, and it would lose me gunfights a lot of the time. And it transitioned over to Apex, unfortunately, when I swapped games. I did not notice it in X Defiant, so I don't know. Maybe that's going to be like the one game that I don't Panic Melee in, but I think the way that I end up Panic Meleeing is I try to snap so fast sometimes, and I kind of like tighten my hands up really fast and I don't realize it and I hit the melee button. Now there was a time, of course, when I had several controllers that would randomly melee and would randomly shoot. That's just because PlayStation 4 controllers are absolute garbage. Everybody knows that, but they are great controllers outside of that. So yeah, controller presets, my button layout, default, nothing too crazy. When I had the PlayStation 4 controller, I did shoot with the bumpers, and I would do my tactical and ping with the triggers instead. I found it a little bit easier to do that on the PlayStation controller as compared to the Xbox controller. Stick layout default. Anything else outside of that I find weird. Interact, reload button, tap to use and reload, so that way you can pick stuff up, reload faster, quicker, and get back into more gunfights. Crouch button, hold. I think the toggle is a little weird, so I just, of course, you can spam crouch it and stuff, especially with a legend like Horizon, who has that movement piece with her. You can get around the map a little bit faster as compared to other legends. So yeah, aim button, hold, because if you have to double tap it to get out, that could cost you your life in specific gunfights. Survival button on, obviously. Trigger dead zones, I have none. I have seen people do like default, but I didn't really notice a difference on it, so I have it on none. My menu cursor speed currently is set to like right about in the middle, a little bit above the second bar right here in the trigger dead zones. I've been gradually trying to get that up a little bit so that way I can loot faster and I can get back into fights a lot faster, so that way when we're towards like round 3 or round 4 and we're getting into a smaller circle and we're going to be more prone to getting in more gunfights, I have that ability to shield swap, get ammo if I need it, switch an attachment, switch a gun, whatever it is, be able to do that. Now, this is where obviously this is going to be the part, like I said, where it is going to be different for everybody. That is going to be our movement and our aiming with our sensitivity. So we'll start here. I'm sure you guys have seen it already from a lot of other creators and a lot of pro players. 4-3 linear is like the universal controller sensitivity that a lot of people use. For a while, I was rocking 3-3 classic response with a small dead zone, and then for a while I did a 4-4 classic with no dead zone. I apologize for the fantasy app going off right now, but again, it is what works for me. So I do 4-3 linear with a small dead zone, movement dead zone small as well. You don't really need to put it on large unless you have a huge amount of stick drift, and then if that's even the case, then I would look into getting a new controller. Personally, that would be my preference. That would be my suggestion. Inverted look off, vibration. It says on, but really it's off. I have the rumbles taken out of my controller, so that isn't possible. Custom look controls I have turned off. You can turn them on and play with them like that, but me personally, I don't mess with them. I did before, but that's just me. Why is that like moving closer? That is weird. That is weird. Anyhow, so that is what my controller settings are as far as that goes. Gameplay, if you guys want to check this out, auto sprint I do have on. It's kind of similar to, if you guys are familiar with Call of Duty, the auto tack sprint, just so that way you don't have to push down on the actual thumbstick as hard. You can kind of just like push forward and you start running, as you can see here. So that is that for me. Double tap sprint off, and then things like that. Like I said, you guys can check that out. This isn't really anything crazy. Colorblind mode I do have on Tritanopia, just to kind of make the colors pop a little bit, but that doesn't really change anything. Subtitles off, subtitle size normal, even though it's off, so that doesn't matter. Video settings pretty much all on low, except for my texture streaming budget, which is on high. But you guys are here for the controller settings. That stuff doesn't really matter. So you can always mess around in the firing range and see what works for you. But for me, the 4-3 with the small linear input is what works best for me. And now, as far as like a warm-up goes, I will kind of mess around for like 5-10 minutes on each weapon, usually, before I'll hop into like a pub to actually start getting like into the zone, as I like to call it. So I'll just like chill here for a little bit and just start shooting around on the bots, trying to control my recoil, while at the same time maintaining the recoil and following the bots, so that way I can be precise and accurate when we get into an actual game. The big thing that I try to do is one clipping when I'm warming up. I have the bots set on the red shield, obviously, so that way when you get into those later games, you aren't having as big of an issue one clipping those enemies. Obviously, it is completely different as compared to playing a bot versus playing an actual person. So, of course, you know, don't think just because you are one-clipping these guys in the firing range that automatically means that you will be able to one-clip people in actual games. But that is my personal preference as far as the settings go. I have not played it all today, so I'm a little rusty from last night. We did not play, so that is going to do it as far as this video goes. If you guys did enjoy something like this, let me know what your guys' input settings and everything are for Apex Legends in comments down below. As always, I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for tuning in today's video. If you guys haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. It does help the channel. Hit the like button as well. Share and follow me on Twitch and Twitter. Links down below to all of the other socials. And I'll see you guys for next week's video.